Hello everybody, this is SWTOR and I'm going over the Concentration, Sentinel, and Star Wars: The Old Republic. Now this video is for those who are new to the game or new to the spec in general and just need a little bit of extra help to understand some of the basics. I'll be going over some things to note under the discipline path, but I will not go over everything, so please read each and every single thing provided, as there are a lot of rather important things to read about in there that will affect certain abilities and potentially help you make your own rotation for the spec or for the class. I will also be going over utility points. What I have up is, again, a basic one, and some are good, others probably not so much for you. So please read over the other utility points that you can spec into and find what matches out with your playstyle a lot better than what I have. And then I will also go over the basic rotation that I have come up with, and I will finish off with player tips for you guys. So to start, I'll go over the utility points provided right here. First, under Skillful, I have Adamant, which will generate 4 focus when stunned, immobilized, put to sleep, or knocked around. Additionally, the cooldown of your Resolute will be reduced by 30 seconds. I also have Debilitation, which Blade Barrage immobilizes the target for 3 seconds. And then I have Stoic, increases your damage reduction by 2%. And you build 2 centering when attacked. The centering effect cannot occur more than once every 1.5 seconds. If there's something there that you dislike, I do also recommend Trailblazer, which increases the damage of your Cyclone Slash by 25%. Under Masterful, I have Ardor, which allows your Transcendence to no longer require or consume centering, but instead will go on cooldown for 30 seconds when activated. I personally like this because this will allow you to use both Transcendence as well as Zen. And you will be needing to use Zen more often than Transcendence, so this is a nice little trade out so we could use Transcendence in the way you like. Like for me, I prefer to use it as if it's a defensive ability and be able to use it accordingly. I also have Pulse, which reduces the cooldown of Force Stasis by 15 seconds. This is my personal preference because I am both PvPer and a PvEer, and I use Force Stasis often enough. If you do not enjoy having this spec'd in, because you don't necessarily use Force Stasis at any given time, a good substitution will be Defensive Roll, which reduces damage taken by area effects by 30% and increases internal and elemental damage reduction by 3%. Under Heroic, I use Expunging Camouflage, which removes all cleansable effects when you activate Force Camouflage, as well as Enduring. Increases the duration of Guarded by the Force by 2 seconds, and reduces its cooldown by 30 seconds. I did not find any other heroic ability for utility points that I liked, but you might find something there that I didn't. Under Legendary, I use Zealous Ward, when you activate Saber Ward, grants immunity to stun, sleep, lift, and capacitating effects for 6 seconds, and getting attacked while Saber Ward is active, and it heals you for 3% for every maximum health. This healing effect cannot occur more than once every second. A very good substitution to that will be Zealous Judgment, which dispatch refunds 2 focus when used on target affected by your pacify, and can be used on any target affected by your pacify, regardless of remaining health. Additionally, activating pacify grants zealous judgment, increasing your force and tech resistance by 75% for 6 seconds. The other ability one I recommend for substitution is Inspired Focus. Inspiration generates 12 focus when activated, and you heal for 1% of your maximum health whenever you activate an ability that consumes focus. Now, under the discipline tree, for the things to note, Force Leap and Zealous Leap will allow your Blade Storm to have an increase of 5% damage and generate 1 focus instead of consuming focus. Force Leap and Zealous Sleep also will allow your Force Sweep or Focus Burst to automatically crit when used within 20 seconds of activating one of the leaps. Zen and Force Exhaustion will make your next Force Sweep or Focus Burst to proc for an increase of damage by 15% and cost no focus. Force Sweep or Focus Burst will cause Overwhelm on your target for 45 seconds, which increases the damage they take by your AoE damage by 10%. And then lastly, Concentrated Slice will increase the crit damage bonus of your next Force Sweep or Focus Burst by 15%. Your AoE abilities are going to be your Twin Saber Throw, Cyclone Slash, or Force Sweep. All 3 of those are your AoE abilities. Now for the rotation, I have it set up for Force Sweep, Zealous Strike, and then for Focus Burst and Blade Storm, I'll be using those when they are procced. Followed by Blade Barrage, Force Exhaustion, Twin Saber Throw, and then Zealous Sleep. And at the end here, I have Concentrated Slice, and then Slash down here, and Dispatch right there. So to show you, I'll start off with Force Leap, followed by Zealous Strike, Focus Burst and Blade Storm as proc, Blade Barrage, Force Exhaustion, Twin Saber Throw, finish off with Zealous Leap, then repeat from Zealous Strike, as you notice, there's some abilities that are going to be on cooldown. A good way to allow them to finish off is to use Concentrated Slice and Slash. So you can go through, use them again. And then you can keep going through accordingly. Anyway, that's basic rotation for your spec. As for player tips, that will be under your legacy. On my screen, for under Y for legacy, I am under global unlocks and other. I recommend this in all my videos, in which I recommend having at least one of your characters to be maxed out under the light attunement in order to get your legacy of Unity. Well, what Unity is essentially another defensive ability that requires your companion to be out. And what it does is it will allow you both your companion and yourself to have a reduced damage by 50% for 15 seconds. It's actually rather nice in really tight situations. You do not have to have ship unlocks, except for me personally. I like to have my own space for trading purposes to go over healing, tanking, as well as DPS. So I personally, if you're the same way, I recommend getting your repair droid, operations training dummy, as well as Warzone training dummy. The reason for the repair droid is so that way you are able to purchase the necessary items to change your operations training dummy to go between DPS, tanking, and healing. So you can work on whichever role you specify. Under convenience, I recommend getting the Legacy Fleet Pass maxed out, your Legacy Travel to max out, and your Improved Priority Transport Personal Starship maxed out. The reason being you max them out is because it will allow you have no cooldowns on your Priority Transport Personal Starship, Quick Travel, as well as your Emergency Fleet Pass, essentially giving you the opportunity to port around all day because you have nothing better to do, and potentially annoy your guildmates if they're gripped up with you and trying to keep up with you. I also recommend that you get tactical markers in case you happen to be one of the people in charge for operations or even flashpoints. This allows you to give your group a visual for where you want them to be for whatever role they're in. So you're not having to say, no, go over here. No, Timmy, no, you just pulled the boss. This will actually provide that visual so the run would hopefully go a lot smoother. Now, last one I recommend is improved mounting, because this is rather fun. Allows you to mount while still moving, instead of having to stop for that 2 seconds and potentially get engaged by the ad, or someone being a jerk and attacking you if you're on a PvP server or flagged. Under character perks, for advancement, go for whatever your main focus is, whether it be war zones, flashpoints, or even class missions. So going out and questing under your class mission. And I find exploration to go perfect for hand in hand with your class missions. Under travel, I think you guessed it from the global unlock, I recommend you get the personal starship transport for 50,000 credits. This will be perfect in case you're finished off with the planet, you're in the middle of nowhere, and you need to get to your starship to progress in your class story. Or just use it to get to your ship for training purposes if you happen to have the training dummy like I do. I also recommend getting priority transports or side planets such as CZ-198 and Black Hole if you're not familiar with the galactic map to find them. In case you want to go over there in order to do the heroic missions over there, or you want to go to the flashpoints manually like I usually do. Under convenience, Really, you could get all of them. They're all useful in their own way. But as a suggestion for where to start, get your field repair droid as well as your field respec. Field respec is fantastic for, especially if you're hopping between tank role and DPS, or even DPS as well as healer, such as your Juggernaut or your Sorcerer. Sorcerer for, let's say your healer drops and you're on your Sorcerer. It'd be great to go from DPS to healer so you could keep going in the flashpoints. Your group would very much appreciate it. Same thing if you're going from DPS to a tank on your Juggernaut. Your tank drops and you can step up and be able to respec right there. Your group would also appreciate that. And everybody loves a field repair droid in the middle of operations, because they love, or even in flashpoints where people are able to repair their armor and be able to clear out space from their inventory by being able to sell. Under Companion, I recommend doing Legacy of Altruism. Max that out so that way the influence you get with your companion from companion gifts will be increased by a total of 30%. And then lastly, I also recommend getting Legacy of Promptness, because it will reduce the time it takes to give your gifts to your companion by a total of 60%. Essentially going from the default 3 seconds to provide that gift to your companion down to roughly 1.6 seconds per gift, which reduces a large amount of time if you happen to have, let's say, 900 companion gifts to give. Anyway, that's all the tips I